It's a sad day in college basketball, really just for me. And I'm prepared for it today. The Michigan Wolverines got a special guest right here with me, my good friend Xavier Clark.
Yes, sir.
I'll let you introduce yourself, man.
Man, I don't even know where to start. I've been with this team forever and a day. This is a lifelong dream come true. Finally winning the national championship after try after try after try. I think this snaps a 4-game losing streak in the national championship. So them to finally cut the nets down, get everything done, means the world.
This is one of the most diehard, outside of his dad, the most diehard Michigan fan that I know. You already know who we got at the end of the desk.
Well, I don't know about that. My boy Tony lives in Orlando now. That guy
Orlando, and he's a Michigan fan. All right. We got my boy Shane Dunkley at the end of the desk. I'm Dalisa Kulameka. And without further ado, let's get and conclude the 2026 March Madness. It starts and ends with the Michigan Wolverines, who are the 2026 national champions. They won the game 69-63 versus the UConn Huskies, who UConn was looking for their third title in 4 years. But for Michigan, this is their second title in school history, their first since 1989. This is going to be a very hard episode for me. I've never done this much research on the school of Michigan in my life.
He's doing this on a heavy heart, huh?
My passion is just fueled a heavy heart indeed. My passion for Michigan is fueled by hate.
Notice how he said Michigan this time too, not the team up north.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like that. He has to acknowledge this.
I have to put my bias aside, be objective, and talk about Michigan. And on top of that, I was wrong about the tournament too. Yeah. But let's get right into the first thing we're going to talk about. What is the biggest reason why the Michigan Wolverines, who were one of the best college teams this whole year, what was one of the reasons why they ended up becoming victorious and winning the national championship?
I think there's a few reasons. I think the first reason is Dusty May, the way he approaches the game and teaching his group. They're together. They play for each other first, and that's the focal point of who that program is. I think the other aspect is an outstanding defense. They're the top 2-point defense in the entire nation, leading in every single category possible. I think that's pretty much it, to be honest with you.
So just Dusty May came in and changed the culture.
Yeah.
Shane Dunkley.
Of course, Dusty May definitely changed the culture from, what was that guy that got in the fight?
Juwan Howard.
Juwan Howard. Juwan Howard was pretty hyped up going into, his tenure with Michigan. But, of course, hype doesn't always lead to production. Yeah. And when you look at this Michigan team, I knew this team was special early on. And before you call lies or whatever, you got to look back into this 3-game stretch when they played Auburn, Gonzaga, and Rutgers 10 games into the season. And they won 3 straight games by a minimum of 30 points. Not 30 points, a minimum of 30 points. And why do they do that? Defense, size, and length. That's a combo that leads to championships. What was the old saying on the parks back in the day? Not offense wins championships, not shooting 33 threes in a game wins championships. Defense wins championships, and that's what the Michigan Wolverines did on Monday night versus UConn. And when I saw that game, at one point I turned to Daliso and said, Michigan literally has no guards out here. It's literally just power forwards playing their style of ball, and huge credit to Dusty May for drawing that up and allowing that to happen. But when you don't have any guards, and specifically nobody under 6'5" on the court, that makes the other team extremely uncomfortable, and that is why UConn was really shooting the ball terribly in those first, I'd say, 35 minutes of the game, because of Michigan's size, length, and defense and approach to the game. So that's why Michigan won this game.
Agreed. I would agree with both of you guys, and I would tend to lead more towards Zay, because when you look at Michigan as a program, they've always been competitive. They've always been good. They had one bad year in 2023 with Juwan Howard, went 8-24, and at that point, he had just reached the ceiling with the team. So they brought in Dusty May, who had been to a Final Four with FAU previously, a great coach. He came in, brought some of the stuff that he implemented at FAU to this Michigan team, and now he's already a great coach at Florida Atlantic. But now he comes to one of the premier schools in basketball, gets way more money, way more resources, and we see recruiting coming. He goes out and has a great year in 2024, then he goes out and gets Elliot Cadeau, Yaxel Lenderborg, Ade Mara. And those three players were integral pieces of this Michigan championship team. Trey McKinney, he hit a big shot down the stretch. Freshman, came in recruiting, and then Michigan is still recruiting continually. So Dusty May, like I said, he took over for this program in 2023, and then he went 27-10 in his first season, and this year he went 37-3. Lost in the Elite Eight last year, won the national championship this year. And like I said, all the recruits he brought in, Yaxel Lendenborg, Big Ten Player of the Year. He was a good player at UAB. The stats may not show it, but he got better this year. Regardless of what the stats said, he was way more impactful in playing at a better brand of basketball than he did at UAB. Elliot Cadeau lost his confidence at UNC. They said he sucked. He said it himself with some words that I can't repeat up here. But he bounced back and was the most outstanding player in the tournament. He hooped. He's the reason why they dominated Arizona. He didn't even shoot well from the field that game. Yeah. And then in this game, leading scorer, he's the reason why they beat UConn. And, you know, that Arizona game really hurt me. I had to turn it off midway through the second half because I was like, yeah, man, seeing Koa Pete go out like that, man, it hurt my heart. But that's what I think the biggest reason why Dusty May, he changed his Michigan program around. And, you know, I'm going to put my bias in Dusty May. We may have a job opening in a few years at Ohio State.
He's not worried about y'all.
You know, the Buckeyes might need you.
Not worried about
I'm kidding. But next question. What went wrong for the UConn Huskies quickly as to why they lost this game? Shane, I'll start off with you.
It's pretty obvious. It's shooting, right? The UConn Huskies shot 27%, 9 of 33 from the three-point line, where previously that was their bread and butter. And obviously it's a championship game. You know, emotions are high, blood is thin, you know, and you're playing in a football stadium. So a lot of people don't realize is when you're playing in a football stadium as opposed to a regular court, that your depth of field is pretty off as well. So that really is a disadvantage when it comes to shooting threes, and that's UConn's bread and butter, which is Michigan's bread and butter too, but more so UConn with what's that cat name?
Caravan and Brady Mullins.
Literally, and all of those guys
just couldn't really throw it in the ocean efficiently last night.
And you know, they weren't really on it until it's too late. You know, well into the game. So that was their biggest issue.
I agree with what Shane said. That's pretty much the key to the game was that, you know, Michigan was effective in chasing them off the three line, switching constantly. That's one of the key aspects of Dusty May's defense is having so many athletes on the court at any given moment to go and pick up different players. You see Yaxel Lendenborg defend anybody from the 1 to the 5, you know, and be fine, you know, at relative ease, have no issue. Constantly chasing them off the three line, like I said, you know, forcing them to battle with Ade Mara, with Morris Johnson, with Yaxel Lendenborg, and Michigan not really shooting that well themselves, going 2 of 15 from 3 and saying, hey, we've got nothing but 7-footers out here. Let's battle, you know?
And the thing is, those 2 threes that Michigan shot were humongous threes. Elliot Cadeau's 3 pushed the lead pushed the 8-point lead to 11, and then Trey McKinney's 3 with 1:50 left. That was a part of a 5-point swing. Yes, UConn smoked a fast break layup, turned it over. Trey McKinney on the other side hit a 3 to push a lead that could have been cut to 4. Pushed it out to a 9-point game, and that was all she wrote for UConn. Me personally, I think when you look at it, the numbers, this might be the only time when I was doing my research, I'm like, okay, I already watched the game. UConn got out-rebounded. No, UConn out-rebounded Michigan, but if you're watching the game feel, it didn't feel like that at all. It seemed like every time Michigan wanted the offensive board, they were getting it. Every time Michigan needed a defensive board, a big stop, they were getting it. And then the refs. The stripes made a huge difference in the game. UConn couldn't play any type of defense. Anytime they were touching Michigan, it was a foul call. And I'm not blaming the refs, but UConn, you have to understand if that's how the refs are going to call it, you can't be as aggressive because you're only going to hurt yourself at the end of the day. And then battle of the trenches. Rebounds, fouling, what's the third thing? The paint. On defense, Michigan outscored UConn in the paint, and then Adai Mara and Elliot Cadeau were getting whatever they wanted in the paint, and it was just UConn had no answers. Michigan played stifling defense like we stated, and man, I'm just sad talking about this game because I'm just saying so many good things about Michigan, and it's not what I wanted to do.
Be prepared to do that a lot of your career.
That's true. That's true.
It is true. It is true.
We giving that man a blank check, man. He gonna be here for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh yeah, Michigan football too. They're on the up.
Yeah, Whittingham.
Okay. The one positive from all this, Big Ten, baby. What did I say? The one thing we can agree on
That's
as
true.
rivals. I'm
That's
a Buckeye.
true.
He's a Wolverine. The Big Ten runs college sports.
It's a new era.
Who won the championship last year though?
Okay, but that's not what we're talking about. Let's talk about right now, right? We
Right
already
now?
know the Big Ten has won 3 times straight in football.
Yeah.
Three
Then-
times straight. Look.
Then, listen,
Okay.
let me finish. And then you look at this year, who won in basketball? Michigan Wolverines. And then who even won in women's basketball?
That's true. UCLA. Yeah.
Come on, that's like saying,
That's a
like
big
saying
team.
Texas won or Oklahoma
That's
won.
an
That's a,
SEC
yeah,
team.
that's
That's an SEC team.
They're not true. And let me say this. The SEC across the board is in a downward stretch. No, that's no surprise, right? But need I remind you who the kings of college football and college basketball is? The Florida. And I hate the Florida game. Same situation. Like I had to, come on here and vouch for Florida, right? But nevertheless, the Florida Gators, the Arkansas Razorbacks, football, the Georgia Bulldogs, the Alabama Crimson Tide. I know, I'm straying away from the point of this episode, but I just got to remind y'all who the top dog of college sports.
Not as of recently.
Yeah,
Not as of
true.
recently. And
Michigan kicked it off, and we still keeping it going. I don't
No, man. What did Michigan do versus UGA in 21?
We ain't talking about that. We talk about the titles, man.
we care about rings over here, recent rings over here, not rings that happened in the past presidential
wipe the dust off,
administrations.
you know?
Come on.
Yeah.
But look, last question. A little fun one for you guys. Is this the best Michigan team of all time?
Yes. I think with everything that's happening with the program and everything like that, with Glenn Rice and that 89 team, all-time leading scorer for the Wolverines and everything like that. Great outing, way to put on for everybody. The Fab Five as well. 5 freshmen come together, they do something unheard of and go back to 2 national championships.
Sadly, just couldn't win one.
Just couldn't close it out.
Typical Michigan fashion.
This team right here, 5 outcasts, they come together, they come to Michigan, they get the job done in the most dominant fashion that we've ever seen.
5 outcasts, man.
Power of friendship and TikTok. Huh? Okay.
How do you know? Shane, is it the greatest Michigan team of all time?
When I look at the Fab Five, obviously those back-to-back championship runs, and I look at this past Michigan team in 2018, that had the unfortunate doing of running into one of the best college basketball teams of all time, in my opinion, in Villanova, and Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart and Mike Elbridge and all those guys, DiVincenzo.
Nightmares, huh?
Yeah, that's scary hours right there.
It's hard to compare. I know that 2018 Michigan team didn't have all the name brands, but man, that team was fun to watch.
So you're saying the 2018 Michigan Wolverine team that lost to Villanova in the championship is better than this 2026 Michigan team?
All I'm saying is no one
national
expected DiVincenzo to come off the bench and score 30 points. That's all I'm saying, right? Now, if they were to play UConn, that 2018 Michigan team is doing the same thing that this year's Michigan team had done, right?
Interesting.
And this Michigan team, no doubt, is one of the best in their history, but
2018 takes the
I
cake.
got to take 2018 over, just strictly because of just how they play ball. And if I were to watch a head-on-head matchup versus the two, I got to go with that 2018 team.
Wow. Now, what about the 2013 team with Trey Burke, Nick Stauskas, the Fresh Five and everything that?
I'm not really fresh on that team.
That's fair. That's fair.
I know. Did y'all be my Wildcats or something? Deep shot.
No, I think the Wildcats beat us the year after.
You're right. We
Yeah.
did beat y'all.
Trey Burke, man.
Trey Burke.
Columbus, Ohio. Why didn't you come to Ohio State? That's
They didn't
all I'm
want
thinking
him,
about.
man. He had to show, had to prove a point.
Well, man, I appreciate you joining us. Of
course, man.
You got one up on me this time.
Of course, yeah.
All right, Michigan, man.
Buckeyes
man.
will be
course.
back.
Go blue.
Man, go blue. There we go.
Yeah,
See, come
man.
on. Be like Shane, man. Come on.
Yeah, man.
I
go
would
blue.
never say that ever in my life. But this is a win for the Big Ten as a whole. Thank you guys for joining us for this March Madness special. It's been fun. We'll see you guys on Sunday.